Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Two Footed Tackle podcast. I'm your host, Ari Stamatakos. Hope everyone is well, as always. Welcome back. If this is your first time around, make sure you subscribe. Thank you very much for tuning in. If this is your first episode, if it's your second, third, fourth, 10th, 50th, 100th, thank you for coming back. Thank you for returning as always. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone's having a great morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you are watching this. If you're watching it when it comes out, if this is a commute to work kind of deal, imagine listening to me on your way to work. It's pretty weird. In terms of me thinking about that, it's weird. If it's a while you go to bed job, whatever. I hope you're well. I'm well, as always. I've been having a great time of things recently, which is always good. Just got done finishing watching the fake football, the egg ball, the Super Bowl. Just finished. At the time of recording, it's currently 3:40. So yeah, the Super Bowl finished not long ago. Can't believe Taylor Swift won the Super Bowl, guys. It's insane. And as you could probably tell by that comment, I don't really care. I'm one of few people that love sports that really couldn't care about the Super Bowl. It's just not my cup. It's just not my thing. But I have good friends of mine care a lot about it. So it's been really funny reading their thoughts in the group chat in Twitter and on Twitter and stuff. So yeah, you guys know who you are. Yeah. So can't believe Taylor Swift won the Super Bowl. Insane. But apart from that, I've been swell. Had a nice trip up to Wollongong over the weekend for a wedding, which was fabulous. And for those who don't know where Wollongong is, same. No, it's I kid. Basically, think if you're from Victoria, think of Geelong with a nice beach. If Geelong had a nice beach and was maybe 25% more populated, that's what Wollongong is. Essentially that. It's essentially that. Anything else that I can kind of describe it as? Think of like a small town with a nice beach and a bunch of people. That's essentially what it is. But no, it was good fun. It was good fun. However, that meant having that very nice weekend away. That meant my football intake wasn't as kind of like in depth as I would like. I haven't watched too many games of the Prem over the weekend. Didn't watch the Asian Cup final live. Didn't watch the AFCON final live either. I've been just wrecked. I've just been really tired. So my first actual proper game, like full game that I'll watch live, is going to be the Chelsea Palace game tomorrow morning. So that's not a good thing. But I've caught up. I've watched mini matches and highlights, and I've read and observed. So there will be a lot to talk about. Although I did say there will be a lot to talk about. I think this might be a little bit of like a reset pod. I feel like I might just waffle on this episode. I don't really have a lot on my run sheet. There's a couple of dot points here which I might cover. But yeah, this might be just a little bit of like a ramble pod. Not a lot of structure to it. Just kind of waffling on. I do feel like a little bit under the weather as well. So yeah, we never know. This might just be a nice, chill, relaxed, not a lot of structure, not a lot of hot takes, not a lot of yelling kind of podcast. But before we start, I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone is well. I implore you all. This is the other point that I was going to say that I do always say at the start of these episodes. I implore you all to subscribe to the Two Foot Attack podcast, and I implore you all to subscribe to the Two Foot Attack podcast. Make sure you follow on all the socials, on the audio platforms. Give it a 5-star rating. Give it a follow. Give it a thumbs up, whatever it is. And and YouTube as well. Subscribe, notification bell, all the good stuff, and the socials: TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Two Foot Attack podcast. You can't go wrong. Okay, let's kick things off. And I mean, I think the big thing that has come out of the footballing world over recent days, we'll call it days, is the emergence of the blue card. Now, this was introduced to us or brought to the attention of most people not long ago during the week. And basically what it is a sin bin. So is a sin bin. So a blue card is set to be introduced in professional football as a part of a sin bin trials. The card will see players removed from the field for 10 minutes if they commit a cynical foul or commit dissent. I think it will be trialled in the FA Cup next year, which will be very interesting. Yeah, so it's essentially a sin bin. A lot of people have had a lot of different thoughts about this, and I am going to come from a not similar perspective, but obviously Ange Postecoglou spoke out about it in his press conference. He said that it will delay the game. I think a lot of other people have said. Paul Merson, I think, as well, has said that it will cause a lot of disruptions in football. I think sin bin is something that's very prominent in rugby. League or union, I'm not sure. Is it both? I'm not sure. So forgive me. It's in a code of rugby. It is very prominent, and it actually is very successful in that because it puts the the offending team in a far worse position, and it opens up the game because of the way the rugby's played. You can't really park the bus in rugby. I don't think so anyway. I don't think you can just park the bus in rugby. So it obviously helps. And obviously, I don't think you can time waste to as much of a degree in rugby as you can in football either. So there you go. I don't think there's other sports that have a sin bin kind of operation. Obviously, in basketball, you like commit fouls. So like, and then you could foul out. So if you commit like 3 fouls early, you don't play for some gap. You don't play for as long, so you can play the end of the game, or like stuff like that. You can foul out. Is that the same in like? I mean, I watched half of an NFL game today and have no idea what the hell the rules are for that sport. So there you go. But yeah. Essentially, sin bins have worked in other codes and haven't worked in others, and is being introduced into football. Now, firstly, I think a blue card is wrong. I think it should be an orange card. Surely an orange card makes sense because you have yellow, orange, red. Yellow, orange, red. Like it's the spectrum of colours, and orange is in between yellow and red. Like if you mix yellow and... Is it yellow and orange and you get red? Or is it yellow and green? I think it's yellow and green and you get red. Yellow and blue? I don't know. Or can you even mix any of that? That's besides the point. I think it should be on orange, but that's besides the point. Now, Ange said something really interesting. He said that it's backwards. I don't necessarily... I think Ange said something like we will take our game backwards. I don't necessarily think it takes our game backwards. I think what it does is create it creates a new kind of tactic that opposition teams that teams can use and exploit, both when they commit a foul and when they're versing a team that has committed a foul to verse 10 men. However, I think the overall commentary around it is something that I subscribe to, and that is teams are just... If you get a sin bin for 10 minutes and you're 1-0 up, you're just going to sit back. You're just going to put 10 men behind the ball for 10 minutes, waste time, kick the ball out of play. And unless it's a different time, like unless it's a stopwatch kind of time setting for the player that's getting sin bin. So let's just say, I don't know, give me a player, Martin Odegaard, for example. Martin Odegaard gets sin binned. The stopwatch starts when the referee blows the whistle for play to resume, and as soon as the ball goes out of play, that stopwatch stops for Odegaard, but the game time continues, if that makes sense. So in reality, Odegaard only misses 10 minutes of actual football, but it could be 15 minutes of the real game of football happening. So Odegaard could get a sin bin at the 30th minute and then not come on till the 42nd, for example, the 43rd or the 44th. Maybe that's a way of counteracting that, but I feel like if you're going to do that, why didn't you just add stopwatches and add a very harsh time kind of limit on the game generally, which I don't think they should do, so I think that's stupid. I think it's something that's unneeded for our game. I don't think it's needed because the referees already struggle with officiating as it is, right? And yeah, like the referees already struggle with officiating as it is. Refereeing has never been under a bigger spotlight than what it is right now. Giving them more things to do and giving them even more ways of adjudicating something is only going to confuse the game. It's only going to make it far more complicated, and it's only going to cause a lot of disinterested and lapsed fans to continue falling out of love with the game, which is something that we can't afford right now. because VAR is already killing a lot of fun out of the game. And this sin bin, if it is officially introduced into football across the world, I feel like it's going to slowly strip away the fabric of the game, because it's something that doesn't belong in football. Like, it just doesn't, because teams are just going to sit back, waste 10 minutes or 15 minutes or however long the player is off the ground for, and it's just going to create a very ugly spectacle. It's going to create a far more stop-start game. And also, what constitutes a blue card? Like, is it only cynical fouls? Okay, but then what constitutes a cynical foul? If I am stopping a counter-attack but I get the ball, but the player goes down and it's a free kick, is that a cynical foul if I got the ball? Like, what's dissent? What classifies as dissent for a red card, a yellow card, or a blue card? Or is all dissent a blue card? Or is no dissent a red card anymore? Like, what is it? It's just going to create so much confusion, so much unneeded. It's going to create so much unneeded talk and noise around the game that right now we can really be focusing on far different things, right? So, like Bayer Leverkusen, for example, Bayer Leverkusen beat Bayern Munich 3-0 on the weekend. Not a lot of people were speaking about it because everyone was speaking about how stupid a blue card is, right? So, look, I think it's dumb. I think it's dumb. And I don't want to live in a world. I don't want to live in a world where, we already live in a world where refereeing errors cost teams games, right? And we already live in a world where refereeing errors cost teams games, and refereeing errors are far more scrutinised and under the spotlight than what they have been in previous years, because of VAR and because of the overall media landscape around the game now. It's no longer, it creates talk and it creates like conversation, right? So you can't really blame people for talking about it. I think it's one of those things where it could work if it was as part of the game for since its inception. I don't think people would sit here and go, let's get rid of it, if that makes sense. In the same way that if they introduced a rule of 30-minute halves, for example. 30-minute halves. If 30-minute halves were a thing from the inception of football, I don't think people will be looking at it in 2024 thinking, we need to go to 45. I think if blue cards were a thing when football was incepted in the 1700s, 1800s, or whatever it was, then I think by now we won't really care. It's just part of the game, right? It's a fabric of the game. And I think upsetting the fabric of the game is something that you can't afford to do when it's so kind of regimented. Like, VAR has upset the fabric of the game drastically, right? And that's probably one of the biggest changes that we've had in football in a long time. Like, to the pure, I'm not talking about like league formats and Champions League changing its format or whatever, or like the World Cup going to 36 teams. That's besides the point. I'm talking about the actual way of playing football has changed with VAR, because it just has, right? And this blue card system will change it as well. So there's going to be this lag period where players aren't going to be used to the blue card. Referees aren't going to be used to officiating it, and also that's just going to create more human error. It's going to create more VAR conflict, because will VAR be able to rescind a blue card or hand down a blue card? Like, will you be able to go to the VAR screen to look at a blue card? Because if so, there's going to be far more blue card offences in games in comparison to red card offences. So the referee is going to be going over to the screen a hell of a lot more, right? It's not going to open the game up. It will remove a lot of tactics around fouling players early and cynical fouls and stuff, which is gamesmanship, right? It's not cheating. Like fouling someone on the halfway line is not cheating. Like, you're allowed to do that, and what you get punished with a yellow card, and you give a free kick away. Like that is a punishment, right? I think sin binning someone for that's a bit weird. I think it works at by lower leagues. I mean, like Sunday League level. I'm not talking like League One. I'm talking like real grassroots football. It works at grassroots football, I think, but I don't think it's something that could work at the elite level. I really don't. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with it. I would be against it pretty clearly. I would be pretty vehemently against it. I just think it's something that doesn't need to change. It doesn't need to change. We're already upset with the referees as they are. So why are we going to make their life more difficult? We should try and make their life easier, if anything. And we should try and make the talk around officials easier, if that makes sense. And we need to try and remove human error from the game, and we also need to try and not remove the responsibility, but remove the ability for the referees to influence games. With VAR, referees are able to influence games a lot more. With a blue card, referees are going to be able to influence games a lot more. Referees aren't there to influence games, they're there to officiate the games, and they're there to officiate that the rules are being followed. You should not notice a referee. How many times do you watch a game of the Premier League or watch an A-League game or watch a Bundesliga game and you notice a referee? That's something you shouldn't do. And giving the referee more power when they're potentially not equipped to rule on that power will only make them more of a talking point, and we're going to get to a position where referees are the talking point in comparison to the players, when in reality that shouldn't be the case. That's my 2 cents on the blue card issue. I'm sure when the first blue card is kind of handed down, I'll be back sitting here speaking about it in probably far more aggressive terms, if I'm being brutally honest. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I think it's next year in the FA Cup. I think that's what they've said. I'm not going to look at it now. But yeah, that would be interesting. If it happens against Chelsea, I swear to God. And I can guarantee you the first one, there's... You know what? The first one actually might be right. I can definitely see a world in which the first one given is correct, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, this blue card system work." And then the repercussions of it, the team that has conceded that blue card concedes a goal as well, and it opens up the game, and the game becomes more free flowing. And I think a lot of people will be like, "Oh, maybe this blue card thing's actually right," and then the next one will be shit, and then the one after that will be bad, and one after that will be bad, and one after that will be bad. So, I guess we're just gonna wait and see for that one. But yeah, next up on the run sheet, like I said, there's not a lot that I want to speak about. I guess we could just give like a brief Prem wrap up. I mean, City beat Everton 2-0. I mean, there was some FA Cup in fairness, or some FA Cup midweek. Chelsea beat Villa 3-0. What is going on with Chelsea? Because we versed Palace, so I'm not going to sit here and get my hopes up too quickly. But we are in a position where we're bad. But are we bad? Like, we're bad. But we go to Villa Park and we destroy Villa off, like we kill them. We go to Villa Park and play them off the park, ironically. Like, no pun intended. We destroy it. We're passing it around them, expansive football, goals coming out of everywhere. Enzo scores a pretty good free kick. Cole Palmer scores... Cole Palmer gives... no, he doesn't. Gallagher's who I'm thinking of. The other white attacking midfielder that we've got. Conor Gallagher, English white attacking midfielder. Conor Gallagher scores. Jacko scores. Nick Jackson scores. Modueke plays well. Gusto plays well. We play a midfield double pivot of Enzo and Caicedo, and it worked. Badiashile was okay. Disasi was good. Chilwell was surprisingly good. And then I can guarantee you I'm going to wake up at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, watch Chelsea play at Selhurst Park, and we're going to lose, because it's just those games that we can't seem to work, can't seem to play well. And it's those teams that we verse which are like expansive teams, like those teams that we verse which are like expansive, want to play football, want to try and open us up. And like really like using their fullbacks in an aggressive manner, using a midfielder in an aggressive manner, try to play the ball. They're the teams that we can do well against. Like, we got a point against Arsenal, got a point against City, got a point against Liverpool, I think. The first time that we played them, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we did. That was the opening game of the season. Yeah, it was. We get points against teams like this because when we verse them and they want to try and open us and they want to try and attack us, we can do well, right? I mean, that Arsenal game was one of the better games we've played all year. Same with that Man City game. I mean, Tottenham, they did go down to 10 men, and we were really close being 2-0 down before that suspension, but we still got the result. So, look, we're in a really weird position where we can't afford to sell. The only players we can afford to sell are players that we can't afford to sell, if that makes sense. Like, we can't sell Enzo. We can't sell Caicedo. Can't sell Modueke. Can't sell Palmer. Can't sell someone like Jackson. Can't sell Gusto. Can't sell Badiashile, Disasi, Fofana. These players. Can't sell Lavia. Can't sell these players. The players that we can almost afford to sell, your Sterlings, your Gallaghers, we also can't afford either, because even though the profit on Gallagher is going to be 100% because of he's an academy player, but we can't sell him. Like, there's no way we can sell Conor Gallagher. But we need to, because we're in a pretty big financial fair play hole at the moment. So I'm really kind of I'm scared, but also curious as to how I think we'll weasel our way out of this, because, look, the game's a game at the end of the day, right? And I don't think the Premier League are going to be too harsh on Chelsea, realistically. Even though they should be, and I've spoken about this time and time again before. I've spoken about this for time and time again. The Premier League should be harsh on Chelsea. They should, but they're not going to be. They're not going to be, because it's Chelsea. The Premier League should be harsh on Man City, and I don't think they're going to be, because it's Man City. And they're just going to weasel their way out of a slap on the wrist fine, because the Premier League want Man City. The Premier League want Chelsea. They do. They're bringing the most money. It's a shit unfortunate thing, right? But look, I'm really not scared, but like worried about what I think can happen to Chelsea. But I get. Look, I guess just one of those things. Arsenal. Let's speak about Arsenal. They beat West Ham 6-0, and they beat West Ham comfortably. Like, I watched the mini match for this game, and it was all Arsenal. 25 shots to 5, 70% possession, 3.59 XG to 0.22, 649 accurate passes to 211, 6 corners to 2. How many big chances? 6 big chances to 0. It was destruction. Absolute destruction. And Arsenal are really weird, because they're a team that don't have the credits in the bank of someone like Arsenal don't have the credits in the bank of a team like Liverpool or a team like City. So people still kind of aren't really taking them seriously in the grand scheme of things. Like, a lot of people still think City will run away with it, and if it's not City, Liverpool will win it. But I mean, you look at Arsenal's performance against West Ham, it was as good of a performance any team has played this season, right? And then if you look at the performance the week before against Liverpool, like, they carved Liverpool open at times. Like, it was deadly, clinical, expansive football, and their best is arguably on par with the best that Liverpool and Man City can produce. I think it's just the consistency in which both of those teams can produce their best. So I thought Arsenal were going to regress a little bit this season. I don't think they have totally regressed. I don't think they've gone massively forward either. I think they've done really well to sustain the level that they were at last year, and I think next year they can get a couple of reinforcements in, get a proper number 9. They could be deadly. They could be seriously deadly. And I mean, heaven forbid, if they somehow win the league this year, God, they could really become a very, very, very hard team to beat across the next 4, 5, 6 years. A lot has to go right, and a lot could go wrong to stop that. But the way that they played against West Ham, if that's them with a relatively young team that is only really 2 years into being a team that's playing at the elite level, who knows what they can do, really? Like, who knows what they can do? It's pretty scary. And as a Chelsea supporter, I hate Arsenal, but I've got to admire what they're doing. And this is why as soon as I watched the All or Nothing documentary of the year before last, I was like, yeah, Arteta's the guy. I really like Mikel Arteta. I think he's a bit of a prick, but I think Jurgen Klopp's a bit of a prick, and he's a great manager. I don't think being a prick is a kind of... I don't think being a prick is a... How do I word it? Almost a kind of... It's not mutually exclusive to being a good manager, put it that way. You can be a prick and be a good manager. And I think Arteta is that. And if I was an Arsenal supporter, I wouldn't care, because as long as my team gets results, at the end of the day, that's all that matters, right? So I really like the way that he's going about it right now. I just think there's a couple of holes in their squad. Like, I genuinely think they need a proper number 9. And I said this when they signed Jesus. I said this when they signed Gabriel Jesus. I said that he wasn't a proper number 9. I said that he's better out wide. He's far better out wide. And I got lynched a little bit in that. I said that they should sign someone like a Skamaka, but I mean that's kind of funny right now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with Arsenal. I don't think they'll win the league this year, but if they do, mate, watch out. If they do, watch out, because that could be really, really, like really scary. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that front. And other things that have happened in the Premier League: United won 2-1 against Villa, which is a pretty good result for them. Liverpool dispatch of Burnley. Tottenham very, very, very dramatically overcome Brighton at home with the 96th minute, which is good for them. Ange just keeps on ticking along. I haven't really spoken about Ange too much recently, but he's just ticking along. Not doing anything extravagant, but not doing anything extravagant, but not doing anything catastrophic either. He's just ticking along nicely, the boys. So good on him. Fuck Spurs, but good on him. City win 2-0. Was some talk about their attendances. Just cost of living crisis, people. Come on. Cost of living crisis. Let's not attendance shame, shall we? But yeah, apart from that, not a real big kind of massive Premier League oomph. Højlund scored. He scored like 4 games in a row or something. It's something like that, isn't it? Yeah, he scored in 5 games in a row. Mate, Sean Mills, what a guy. What a guy. For those who know, you know. That's pretty funny. But yeah, there you go. I want to speak quickly on Asian Cup, because Australia got knocked out of the quarters to South Korea. Spoke about that last week. Very sad. But Jordan then versus South Korea and beat them 2-0 in the semis. And then Iran versus Qatar in the semis on the other side. Qatar won 3-2. And then Qatar won 3-1 against Jordan. Now, a lot of people were like, how can Jordan fucking... or whatever, yeah, how can Qatar beat Jordan 3-1 in the Asian Cup final, but then how can Qatar win back-to-back Asian Cups and then in the middle probably produce the worst World Cup display ever produced? Qatar are good. Qatar are a good team. I think a lot of people, I predicted them to get out of the group of the World Cup. I think a lot of people had them finishing third, maybe even second. A lot of people had them doing okay because they are a good team. They are an objectively fine team. Akram Afif is a good player. Almoz Ali didn't have a great tournament. Didn't have an awesome tournament. Only scored 2 goals. In the tournament. Akram Afif was the guy for them. He scored 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He scored 8 goals across the tournament. So he was the guy playing off the left hand side. Akram Afif is a player that is capable of playing at European clubs, at a pretty good level. Premier League, maybe not, maybe lower tier Premier League, or Championship, but still a good level. And they won the previous Asian Cup convincingly. They beat Japan 4-0, I think, at the final. And they won this Asian Cup not as convincingly, but I know Jordan aren't the best opposition, and I know Jordan aren't the best opposition, and it was 1-1 with 20 minutes to go, so the game could have gone either way. And I know it was 3 penalties and all this stuff, but Qatar are fine. Qatar are a good team. They're a fun team. I don't know what happened at the World Cup, genuinely. Got no idea what happened at the World Cup, because that was bizarre. That was really bizarre. But yeah, just one of those things, eh? Just one of those things. And I think this is just an even bigger kind of misstep for Graham Arnold, because Graham Arnold, Australia in particular, Graham Arnold as well. It's a big what if, because if we just hold on for 2 more minutes, we go to a semi-final against Jordan. Should be beating Jordan. I don't care if they beat South Korea. South Korea weren't good. We were better than them across the game. And we beat Jordan. We go to an Asian Cup final. If we lose, we lose, but we get to an Asian Cup final, and that's pretty good, right? So I guess it's one of those big sliding doors moments. I guess it's one of those really big sliding doors moments, which is one of those things. Speaking of Asian Cup, I think let's stay down here. Let's move on to the A-League, shall we? Because let's move on to the A-League. Let's move on to the A-League, shall we? Because it was absolute peak A-League on Saturday night. On Saturday, now like I said, I was out on Saturday. I say out. I was not in Melbourne, and I was kind of not really paying attention to the A-League world. I was far too occupied for that. But it was peak A-League in every way possible. What happened on Saturday? Melbourne Victory lost their undefeated streak. Melbourne Victory lost their undefeated streak, which is okay. We'll speak about that, I think, in a little bit more detail maybe soon if I want to. Sydney FC's women's team, their bus went to the wrong stadium. This all happened in the same day, by the way. Sydney FC's bus went to the wrong stadium. Great. So the game was delayed 30 minutes. Keegan Yelich even, for Brisbane, had the absolute miss of the season. Ball coming across 6 yards, skies it, right? They would have put Brisbane, I think, 4-0 up, 5-0 up against Melbourne City, or maybe even 6-0 up. I don't know. Speaking, and you heard that right. Brisbane beat Melbourne City. So that happened. Brisbane then beat Melbourne City 5-1, when 7 weeks ago Melbourne City beat them 8-1. So in the space of 7 weeks, it's been a 12-goal margin turnover, a 12-goal swing, right? Then you've got Western United's youth team rocking up in the wrong kit, and then Wellington had to go... No, Western United, the men's team, rocked up in the wrong kit. So Wellington's kit guy had to go an hour to their training base to get the right kit for Wellington to bring back to their game, because Wellington were going to wear their away kit in a home game, which normally would have been fine, but Western United's home kit is green and Wellington's away kit is also green. So Wellington had to go an hour away to get their home kit to wear at a game that was played at their home stadium. Yeah, right? And then you had, if I'm not mistaken, something else happened. Yeah, MacArthur's youth team had to wear the Newcastle Jets away top because they just forgot their kit. So that happened. And then to cap it all off, Patrick Wood missed the clearest chance. I don't even know how to describe it. It's the most open of open goals. Like the most open of open goals. And he misses to cap off the pinnacle of A-League. It was sublime. Terrific. Absolutely terrific. And a lot of people, Euro snobs, don't like this league because of the quality and because of no one goes to it and the production isn't good and blah, blah, blah. But when days like Saturday happen, when 7 or so incidents happen in the one day that completely show the unprofessionalism of the A-League in reality, I think we can all sit back and go, you know what, the A-League isn't perfect. The A-League in places is actually bad in places. But we fucking love it because it's exactly what this country is in a nutshell, encapsulated in a football league. Just not really, no one really cares. You rock up, you're half an hour late, it's okay, we'll delay the game. The bus goes to the wrong ground, it's alright. You rock up in the wrong kit, it's alright, we'll just delay the game, it's fine. This guy misses the most, the clearest cut chance you'll ever see in your life. Let's clip it up and it'll go viral and everyone can have a laugh at us. Because we don't really care. Because it's funny. I just really enjoyed the discourse coming out of that whole day with everything that happened. I thought it was hilarious. And it proves why it's one of, it's one of the best leagues in the world. It just absolutely is one of the best leagues in the world because I can tell you this right now. If you watch a Premier League game, you can pretty much tell me what's going to happen, right? More or less. If you watch an A-League game, there is no way in hell you can tell me what's about to happen because the players don't know, the coaches don't know, the production crew don't know, we don't know, no one knows. And that is what is so beautiful about this league, that not a lot of people understand. It's a very misunderstood league. Very misunderstood. It's not trying to be the best. It's trying to be the A-League. And the A-League is currently being the A-League in the most perfect way possible. And I love it so, so much. I just can't get enough of it. It's great. Yeah. And yeah, I just love it. It's great. It's awesome. And yeah, that's. I feel like this is a good place to end it. A good place to end it. 35 minutes, like I said, slightly more chill episode. A good place to end it on a high note. Speaking about the A-League, if we're going to do a preview of the week, Champions League football's back. Copenhagen versus City, Leipzig versus Real Madrid. I'll go with City will win and Real Madrid will win. We'll go City 2-0 away from home and Real Madrid 2-1 away from home. Lazio Bayern Munich, PSG versus Real Sociedad. I think it will be a draw in the Lazio Bayern Munich game. Bayern haven't had the best of times of it recently. A lot of Bayern fans are pretty unhappy with Tuchel as things stand. Lazio aren't great either. They're currently 8th in Serie A, but I think they'll get a result. They'll get a draw, and PSG should beat Real Sociedad. Europa League, Feyenoord versus Roma. Feyenoord will win. We'll draw. Galatasaray versus Sparta Prague. Galatasaray will win. Shakhtar Donetsk versus Marseille. Shakhtar Donetsk win. Young Boys versus Sporting. Sporting win. AC Milan versus Rennes. AC Milan win. Benfica versus Toulouse. Benfica win. Braga versus Karabakh. Braga win. Lens versus Freiburg. I will go with Freiburg just because I really like Freiburg, even though they're currently 7th, so they're doing alright. Melbourne Derby on the weekend. Absolutely shitting myself. Or probably attend. Please win. It's also the same day as the Taylor Swift concert, which will be across the road. Or the Melbourne Swan Street will be packed at about 9 o'clock, about 9:30 that night. So, Jesus Christ. Perth versus Brisbane as well, which will be a good game. Sydney versus Adelaide. Friday night, Western United versus Newcastle. City versus Chelsea. We're going to lose that game, guaranteed, and we're probably going to lose to Palace. So I'm going to be recording next week. Very, very depressed, which is awesome. But yeah, apart from that, that is all for today's episode. Thank you all very much for watching another episode of the Two Footed Tackle podcast. Appreciate you all sticking around if you have. If this is your first time, make sure you tune in next week. If this is your 100th time, make sure you tune in next week as well. Stay well, stay safe. See you guys next time, and goodbye.